Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are on the Tower of Hoth playing as the Greenskins against the forces of the Vampire Coast. And in this match I actually ran into Odium Zyphos, who's one of the better players on the leaderboards. And I figured I'm going to try something a bit ridiculous. So we've gone with a full Gobbo build. So for my lord, hiding out in the trees somewhere is a Goblin Great Shaman. He does have actually most of his kit, because I was thinking I might get an opportunity to try out some of it. I got the Curse of the Bad Moon, I got Itchy Nuisance, I got Vindictive Glare, and Sneaky Stabbing. The Curse of the Bad Moon has been reworked to now be basically just a defensive debuff, which is nice, I think, though it's still a pretty expensive spell. I did figure that if my opponent brings a Queen Bess, I wanted to try the Vindictive Glare to whittle it down. Of course, we do have Wall, we have Arcane Conduit, we have Sneaky Stealing, and Evasion. So all pretty good spells. And of course, this guy can Vanguard and hide in the trees. Otherwise, we do have a whole bunch of flanking cav. We've got Moon Howlers, we've got Teeth Robbers, we've got some Forest Goblin Spider Riders, a bunch of Goblin Wolf Riders, because one of the things I was worried about a little bit as well was that my opponent would have some hidden flank troops and try to get in on my artillery park, which is pretty significant. You can see in the back here 3 Doomdiver catapults, which I figured we could snipe down Queen Bess with, we could work down units like Depth Guard with, and that sort of stuff. For the front line, a whole bunch of Night Goblins, all roided up to Veterancy rank 9 to give them still bad leadership, but at least we're pretending it's better. The AP Loonies, who are of course unbreakable and can spin to win, and then we do have the Warlords Boys, who have Armor Sundering instead of Poison, so very solid lineup. And then 5 Night Goblin Archers, one of which is the Rusty Arrows for that Armor Sundering effect. Now for my opponent, he did go with a super wide build. I thought I went wide, he went far wider. He's got 1,700 troops. Most of them you can see Zombie Pirate deckhands with just pistols. He's got a few of the pole arms. He's got, I think he had some handguns in here. There we go, there's some handguns. Just a complete mess of everything. Single unit of Murngulls, single unit of Depth Guard. Gallows Giant, Noctilus mounted on his Necrofex. He does have the Moondial summons and Earthblood. No, Invocation of the Heck. He doesn't even have his Bombardment, actually. And then we do have some Bats to run Harassment. So definitely both of us going super wide, and things kick off almost immediately. You can't see my opponent advancing here. Gets a few shots on the Forest Goblin Spider Eyes, because of course Noctilus can fire on the move when he's mounted on his Walker. And I'm basically gap closing. I'm trying to get some of those opening volleys, figuring that with the Rusty Arrows and with just mass fire, I might be able to bring him down a bit. You can see the Goblins there exploding among the Zombie Pirate deckhands. And as we're closing the gap, we are going to start peppering down Uncle Nocti, and we've got a lot of arrow fire to be pouring into him. He is going to summon some zombies immediately, but you can see just how much damage, just between the Rusty Arrows and like 1 unit of Night Goblins, we've already taken down Noctilus by several hundred HP. You can see over 1,000 HP lost on him. He's having a horrible time with it. He's being forced to withdraw almost immediately. Elsewhere, the Teeth Robbers unfortunately kind of forced off. I really need to try to thread them into the backline here, but I'm not. Over here, the Spider Riders getting caught up against Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs. We are able to sort of focus down Noctilus, forcing him to back off, and now switch targets to Depth Guard, who over here on 45 miles are mulching through the AP Loonies very, very quickly. But despite Invocation of the Heck, we are just going to pound them into oblivion with a crossfire of very angry Gobbos. And you can see their HP just tanking. Now my opponent here is going to start roasting me with that flamethrower, actually doing quite a bit of damage. You can see it just completely annihilates them there. At half range, this thing is monstrous. Of course, they're unbreakable, so I don't care too much. And he probably is roasting a lot of his own troops in the process. So, you know what? Who cares? We will hold our own and mulch these Depth Guard. In the meantime, I do pop Wa, so we are kind of overwhelming the backline, so you can see the spin to win going through over there. The Morgul's pretty badly mauled, but they do hold on. And, you know, things are looking dead even right now. You can see the Night Goblins that routed off, pulling back into the fray, which of course we're Goblins, so we're constantly rallying, retreating, rallying, all that stuff. Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs is overwhelming the Teeth Robbers over here. I'm not really able to micro them consistently, which is really unfortunate, because there's just so much to do. This is a very micro-intensive army, because there's just constantly units fleeing, constantly units recovering. Unfortunately, the Morgulls here actually tanking rather well, but the Doomdivers continue to pound, and of course they're not being interrupted. They're up to 41 kills, 51, 31 over there, getting quite good value. And as my opponent tries to pursue me here, his Zombie Pirate deckhands are getting gunned down. Unfortunately, with that ludicrous HP pool, they really take a while to start crumbling, and so I'm not getting the best value I would like out of my archers. Over here, my Goblin Great Shaman is tied down by Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs, which is not where he wants to be in life, but hey, it is what it is. In the meantime, the Gallows Giant is actually forcing some of my Night Goblins to rout, but it's not the end of the world. They will be coming back, hopefully, at some point. In the meantime, constant stream of fire coming out from the Doomdiver catapults, whittling down my opponent's backline and just focusing down these clumps of troops and getting quite a bit of value there. Night Goblins recovering, diving into the fray once again against zombie deckhands. But my opponent able to get those summons with the Moon Dial. He's got crazy range, and he's able to get some great summons there, which is really, really annoying for myself, though obviously not annoying for him. In the meantime, my cavalry is doing its very best to try to shut down these backline troops. I want to take them offline if at all possible. Unfortunately, the Moon Howlers here deciding that they're not going to, or not the Moon Howlers, the Thief Robbers not deciding they can't plow through some zombies. They actually get caught up. I was hoping they'd push through to the second line, but they did not. And that's going to let my opponent keep firing. That said, the archers are still around kicking. They're slowly but surely overwhelming my opponent's troops. There's still an okay amount of Night Goblin archers. But unfortunately, my opponent has now noticed that he has bats on the field, and he's throwing them into the fray. But I'm going to pull some Goblin Wolf Riders back, try to interrupt them, and prevent them from causing mayhem. Meantime, with an indication of the heck, these zombie pirate gunnery mobs are sticking around, but kind of expending my opponent's magic, which is nice. Obviously, at this point, my poor Goblin Great Shaman is going to get terrified, but being on the Wolf with evasion, he's going to be way too fast for any of these units to catch or even come close to catching, so he'll be able to get out of dodge relatively effectively. But unfortunately, Balance of Power is starting to decisively shift out of my favor. My cav contingents are at this point basically wiped. My Lord is in full retreat here, running for dear life from some very angry Morngulls, and my infantry line is largely gone. I don't have much at this point. I've got like a bunch of archers, and that's about it. That said, we are going to be able to defend our backline here. We are going to be able to get our Goblin Wolf Riders on the bats, which is probably one of the weakest fights you're ever going to see. But hey, the Wolf Riders will come out on top. In the meantime, the catapults continuing to fire. And at this point, we are actually targeting we're going to start targeting Count Noctilus shortly. You can see a few volleys there going into the back of these troops, but shortly we're going to shift targets to Count Noctilus and try to pound him down a little bit. Over here, the AP Glooney is still on one model, slugging it out for the people here with the Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob. 37 HP, getting cut down slowly but surely, but hey, they're unbreakable. So they're doing well. In the meantime, my archers do rally, so they're going to be able to push back in, try to get perhaps a little bit of damage. If we can overwhelm Count Noctilus, we might still have a chance. My Goblin Shaman, though, gets caught here once again. His low mass really kind of letting him down. I was trying to get Wah back, but yeah, it's not happening. Over here, the Wolf Riders actually intercept and stop the Zombie Pirate deckhands from overwhelming my artillery, which is great. And of course, because Zombie Pirate deckhands are so slow, our artillery is relatively capable of outrunning them. And now, although Count Noctilus is advancing, you can see these guys lying in wait with their fancy goblin bows, lying in ambush. And now, as Count Noctilus is going to approach, we are going to get a nice opening volley. And you can see the goblins are advanced, they're going to break cover, and they are going to start melting Count Noctilus. He does have 5,800 HP right now, but just look at this volley coming in. He loses that armor and immediately tanks by about 1,000 HP. So it's pretty nuts how much damage we're doing. He's definitely not where he wants to be in life. And unfortunately, though, that roast from the flamethrower just annihilates the rusty airs. It does some crazy damage. I'm not entirely sure. Like, if you get hit by the middle stream of the flame, it seems to do. Well, that's where most of the damage happens. And it just completely annihilates these troops, which is really unfortunate. But Count Noctilus is getting pounded down. You can see that our armor is actually now not being sundered, but he's lost half his HP, and the Doomdivers are pouring in. And of course, with only 75 armor, he's not the tankiest. We do get a second wall off. We're going to dive in, try to tie down the Gallows Giant, which I probably should have done a while ago. Count Noctilus here getting overwhelmed by that pounding fire. Perhaps what I should have done much sooner. Certainly the Doomdivers could have been doing some good work here had I been more focused on it. We are actually going to try to get a Vindictive Glare there, which whittles him down further before my Lord does rout and flee from the field in disgrace. But Count Noctilus here being pounded by a constant crossfire. Really not having a good time of it. And probably this is what I should have done much earlier in the game with my Doomdivers, because they're just so precise that against a big target like this one, they can get a huge amount of value. Count Noctilus here just getting destroyed. But unfortunately at this point, the Balance of Power is starting to decisively shift out of my favor. The Morngulls here are going to dive into the courageous Wolf Riders who dove in, trying to save their artillery pieces. I'm ordering the crews to abandon ship, but it's too little too late. We are going to bring down Count Noctilus. You can see him crumbling there, losing a leg, and then toppling to the ground, but really, at this point, it's too little too late. My archers are too few in number to get a lot of damage in. We are going to get a Vindictive Glare here, trying to get some value, but it's not even able to one-shot him. And despite my efforts to use Doomdivers for the purpose, it's just not happening, guys. And that is going to be an unfortunate end of the game for myself. My opponent at this point just kind of stomping through, and shortly we are going to suffer army losses. I did try to fight to the bitter end, of course, for the Goblin Nation, but gotta do the people proud. But unfortunately, I was not able to channel my inner sneaky stabbing this day, and that is going to be game all she wrote for the goblins. So very well played to Odium Xiphos. Honestly, the match was surprisingly close, given the ludicrous nature of my build. I was honestly pretty happy with the performance of the goblins. I think it's actually probably viable. If I were to rework this build a bit, I think I can make it work. I think bad focus, or the incorrect focus fire with the Doom Divers hurt me quite a bit. If I had focused the Gallows Giant, perhaps, or Count Noctilus, who got way too much value that game, with the Doom Divers throughout the game, I could have probably gotten way more value out of them. Perhaps I should have focused the Gallows Giant much sooner, because I underestimated its value, and really it was a devastating piece on the field. I really should have tried taking it offline. Also, the fact that my cavalry wasn't really able to force its way into the back line, I think, hurt me quite a bit. My opponent just had so much trash thrown my way, and it was just really, really painful. Honestly, that said, against a build like this one, had I gone with a super heavy, say, Orc front line, this might have gone, or Black Orc and Savage Orc front line, this might have gone significantly worse, because my opponent simply didn't really have the tools to deflect that. Like I said, goblins are big gimmicky. It's fun, it's entertaining, but it is what it is. I definitely had a lot of fun in this match, and that's what I think what counts. Look at them, T-Froppers, 68 kills. It's more than you'll ever see them get. Well, the Night Goblins, of course, trading rather well into the zombies, but they are a lot more expensive, especially when Chevron up like this. It's like a 600 gold unit, so do keep that in mind, that you're paying a high premium just to make them work or make them hold. Probably would have been better off just ditching most of the front line and spamming more archers, to be honest. My opponent's build, I honestly have no real critique. Obviously, I think against, like I said, I think against the build with a bunch of Savage Orcs and a bunch of Black Orcs just looking to overwhelm them, sort of like the stealth build I did recently, I think this would have not worked anywhere near as well, because they'd probably get overwhelmed rather quickly, because there really aren't the tools in this build to counter that. But obviously against this it works rather well. But regardless, very well played to Odium Xiphos. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, be sure to post down below. I will respond as soon as I can. I do thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye for now.